Hello, everybody, and welcome to what undoubtedly is going to be the most wildest weekend for WWE as a whole. Welcome to Survivor Series weekend, and we started off with Smackdown Live. What's good, everybody? It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo, Didi Woodson. Michael Bullock will be here tonight. He's just running a little late. So we're going to start with SmackDown Live, and whatever we don't get, then we'll try to catch them up rapid fire here tonight, guys. We're not going to waste any time because we got a loaded show tonight. One of the biggest cards that we've had in a long time. SmackDown Live, the preview of NXT Wargames tomorrow from Chicago, and of course, Sunday night Survivor Series. We're going to get all into it right here, right now, starting with SmackDown Live from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, just a suburb of Chicago. And, well, we started it off with, a little bit of a rah-rah, little dissension between the guys starting on with the SmackDown Live crew. Then it leads out to the ring where Sasha Banks was talking with her team, representing SmackDown Live, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Nikki Cross, interrupted by Charlotte Flair and Monday Night Raw. That's right, their five showed up, as it was Sarah Logan, of course, the Kabuki Warriors, and Natalya. Then they get interrupted by NXT. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the official team for NXT. Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, Toni Storm, Candice LeRae, and Tegan Nox. That's the five that's going Sunday night at Survivor Series. So after all that brouhaha happened, then we had a triple threat match, as it was Rhea Ripley representing NXT, Sasha Banks representing SmackDown Live, and the Queen, Charlotte Flair, representing Monday Night Raw. When it was all said and done, Rhea Ripley wins for NXT. She takes the fight, and this was a crazy finish. Charlotte Flair puts the figure 8 on Sasha Banks. So it looks like Sasha was going to tap out. Rhea Ripley sneaks underneath, basically a crucifix pin, applying the pressure on Sasha. She can't break the pin. Charlotte's shoulders are down. 1, 2, 3, fight over. Rhea wins. Then, after everything that happened, NXT rolls out of the ring, and they're celebrating up at the ramp. Raw and SmackDown gets into a brouhaha, and they start going at it. They throw down, and NXT is away from the brawl. They're away from the mayhem. They don't even get involved in the melee. I hate to say it, guys. Advantage NXT, because A, they win the match, and then B, after all the fracas breaks up, they're basically chilling up at the rampway. They're not getting involved. They're going to be rested for Sunday night. And for most of the girls, probably it's a good thing that they're not fighting, because the majority of them, actually for the majority of these ladies, they're all going to be competing tomorrow night in Wargames. So who knows how they're going to be feeling going into Sunday. So the fight itself was 3 stars. Yes, it was short, but man, what a great match. The closing sequence was chaotic. It was great. But more importantly, if you wanted a statement win for NXT, that was a statement made. You just pinned Charlotte Flair, the captain of Raw and the face of WWE. Rhea Ripley, you just increased your stock tenfold with that win tonight. I know Michael Bullock would be rubbing it in our faces because of that win, but Plain and simple. NXT probably did the best thing they could have done. After that fight was over, let Raw and SmackDown have their little brouhaha. We stay back and we relax. There's no need for us to get involved in this fight. Just stay away. We don't need to get involved. Our job is done for the night. Anthony Flaio, come on in. Man, I mean, big. Yeah, I mean, whoa.
The only thing I need to know, and I'll tell you, MF. I mean, what is Michael Bullock thinking right now? What is Bullock thinking upon seeing those 5 announced for his team come Sunday night? When he gets word that it's Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, and the defending Mae Young Classic champion, Tony freaking Storm out of nowhere?
That's a powerful 5. I think that just those 5 alone, I hate to say it, I think NXT now are the favorites to win that fight now. Because and I'm loyal to SmackDown. I know you're loyal to Monday Night Raw, but you put the 5, you put all 3 on paper. NXT is the strongest of the 5.
Oh my God!
I don't think there's no weak link on NXT's 5.
No.
So they're now considered the favorites to win that fight now.
Yeah, I mean, Rhea Ripley, I'm gonna make a bold statement here and now. 2020 is gonna be the year of Rhea Ripley. I really believe it. She will eventually dethrone Shayna Baszler as the NXT Women's Champion. That could probably maybe come at the takeover in January, the weekend of the Royal Rumble. I could see it going down there. Or maybe they hold it until Mania. You don't know. But one thing is for sure. Shayna Baszler eventually has to lose that title, and I think Rhea Ripley is the one who's going to dethrone her for that title. And she's going to run with that thing maybe just as long as Baszler. I don't know. We're going to see. But Tegan Knox, we all know Michael Cole went on the record last year and said that was his pick to win the Mae Young Classic last year before her gruesome injury. So that's Tegan Knox. Mia Yim, we all know her pedigree. Jade from TNA Impact, former knockout champion in her own right. So there's her experience. The only one I'm a little iffy about, if I'm going to be honest with you, is Candice LeRae. No disrespect, but Candice is, well, you know, she's kind of like that girl next door, if I'm going to be honest with you. So we'll wait and see on that. But Toni Storm, oh my Lord, are you serious? You threw in the winner of the Mae Young Classic and a former UK Women's Champion? Oh, we're screwed. Raw's screwed. SmackDown screwed. Oh, of course, SmackDown's screwed. With all due respect, MF, I think your team's the weakest of the herd, if I'm going to be honest with you. Even though you got Sasha, who was incredible. But other than that, I mean, yeah, you got Nikki. Nikki's been getting better, you know. Mella, former women's champion, first Miss Money in the Bank and all that. But Dana, that's a weak spot right there. But then again, Lacey, we'll wait and see on that. That could be your wild card right there. Raw, very strong team. The Queen, we know her pedigree. Natty, the Kabuki Warriors, the hottest new heel act in the women's division. Sarah Logan, yes, is our weak link. I will openly admit that. But I'm hopeful that she gets due a big moment. But to sum this all up, I'll sum it all up by saying this. The segment was chaotic. It was thrown away. It was bad. The segment was bad. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a contrived promo at the beginning to send the message that the locker room listens to Reigns, but not Corbin. To Sasha suddenly playing a babyface surrounded by women who she's verbally trashed just weeks prior. To Raw to casually being backstage. And that was incredibly fabricated, illogical. Crowd didn't seem to care about any of that. But as far as the match goes, oh my gosh, MF, you're right. 3-star match, fun match. Creative finish, and I give WWE props for actually delivering one rather than just letting it devolve into a chaotic brawl. Rhea Ripley got a big win without really taking anything away from Charlotte or Sasha at all. I don't see how these triple threat elimination matches are going to work Sunday. Though Corey Graves and all of us said it best. It's going to be a chaotic mess. So all I know is it's going to be hella fun on both the women's side and on the men's side. So nothing more to say on this. We'll get more into it in just a little bit. But the opening segment, not all that good. But the match was fun. 3-star match. Rhea Ripley, she's on her way. Dee Woodson, what says you? What do you make of all this?
Oh boy, there's a lot to go into here. Yeah, the opening segment with the girls, very well done. Like how they are using it to set up for Survivor Series. Like the team that NXT sent down for the ladies. That was very good team. Match, 3 stars, good match. Glad to see Rhea getting a chance to shine on the big stage. So that's about all I'm going to say about it. It's yours.
All right, and then from there we move right along to the show, and the next thing that we had, well, right after that, then there was a little backstage segment that had King Corbin, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. They were talking. Sami Zayn came out and said some things. And the next thing we know, Sami Zayn comes out with a bag. And we were wondering, what the hell's in the bag? What is this about? Well, the next thing we know is that it was, more importantly, a new belt. They redesigned and redid the Intercontinental title. And ladies and gentlemen, it looks amazing. It is probably one of the best looking new titles in WWE. It is getting praise all over from Derek Ferrera, who's one of the harshest critics of WWE, to my crew and my buddies from the Discord, to everybody. Everybody is praising WWE. It has a feel of I want to say an NXT looking like belt. It looks amazing. Then after that, then we had the Undisputed Era show up. And they were trying to pick a fight. I guess Sami Zayn opened his mouth and made a big boo-boo. So Undisputed Era came out. And then New Day came out. And Kofi and Xavier's like, well, we're looking for a fight. You guys jumped us last week. We want some payback. So Roderick Strong's like, wait a minute. 4-on-2. That's not fair. Like, that's great for us. We'll take that fight. They're like, oh, no. We got 2 more partners. We got 2 more people that's coming after you. And it was, Ducky. It was them good old boys, man. It was Otis. It was Tucker. It was Heavy Machinery. They show up. So when it was all said and done, at the end of the bout, the winners in 15 minutes officially was Undisputed Era. The numbers game got to the 4. They won the match. Bullock will probably be happy, but then Roderick Strong made a mistake. He ran out trying to pick a fight with Shinsuke Nakamura, and not only did that almost materialize, then AJ Styles showed up out of nowhere, and he was looking for some. So, all right, the 3 started brawling, but SmackDown came on top on this one thanks to Lame Duckman and an equalizer. He lays out AJ Styles, smacks him with the steel chair, then tosses him out. But Roderick, boy, did you get your ass kicked. Lit up with the steel chair before Undisputed Era decided to jump out and save his boy. But Anthony Florio chaotic scene, great match, but I'm gonna say this: AJ was probably, he got beaten up a little bit, but Roddy got messed up by Sami Zayn. He got laid out at least 3 or 4 times with that steel chair before Undisputed Era jumped in and stopped it.
Yeah, he did, without a doubt. I mean, wow. Oh boy, what do we make of all this? Well, I'll tell you what I make of it. As far as I want to give a quick thought about the new Intercontinental Championship belt. As you all know, that's the title
you hold that belt very near and dear to your heart.
Yes, and it's a damn shame that it's a SmackDown title and not a Raw title. But it is what it is on that. But now I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the white belt, with the old school white belt. Not at all. But the new black version looks great too. The only downside is the championship itself is irrelevant. The real problem is that the title has been treated like a throwaway title. So I am hopeful that will change with this new look belt. Now that we have this brand new belt, this beautiful, gorgeous new belt that Shinsuke Nakamura now holds, I am hopeful that belt will be treated like it used to be back in the olden days when we used to have instant classic matches and they do something to make that title feel prestigious. So very nice. Although I'm going to miss the old school belt because I'm an old school guy. So moving on to what we saw here. Interesting note here. There was actually a little tension between New Day and Heavy Machinery. Could that be a future SmackDown Tag Team title feud down the road? I think there could be. So we'll wait and see. But as far as this match goes, if I'm going to be honest with you, this was the fight of the night. I'm giving this 3.5 stars. Solid match. The large chunk in the middle where UE worked over Kofi was a little slow, but that's par for the course.
Okay. Well, at least now I know.
Anthony?
The 90s. Did we lose him?
No, Anthony, are you there? I don't know. He was there, and then his mic might have cut it off. I don't hear him now.
Well, I'll probably. What? That's how your mic sounds sometimes, Mike.
Multi-man tag.
Oh, there we go. We got.
But the major malfunction.
Yeah, I don't know. We're kind of having a little bit of issue with Florio. I can't really hear him at all. So, Didi, why don't you just take over for the minute? Yeah, go ahead, Didi. It's all yours.
Okay, we're on New Day Heavy Machinery match. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I love the new title. Of course, they made the spoiler last week saying that they were changing 2 titles. We know one was Bray Wyatt's. Now this one with Nakamura. I love the way it looks. It looks great. It needed the upgrade. Definitely better looking than what he had before. The triple tag match, was a really good match. Tremendous. Had a lot of, it was a lot of fun, and I think it was a good idea to let the Undisputed Era, win in the end. Even the heat between New Day and Heavy Machinery, you kind of knew they were going to implode sometime during the match, but it looked like Tucker was the one who was trying to hold them together as much as possible. So, yeah, I mean, it was a very good match, fun to watch, and another great lead up to the pay-per-view. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. I guess I'll toss it to you since he's gone. Oh, there he is.
All right, I got Anthony back. All right, Anthony, can we hear? Can you try?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go. Much better. All right, so why don't you finish your thought, and then we'll go right back into the next thing.
Yes, there could be booking 101 here. It may be with Undisputed Era and Rhea Ripley both going over here this evening. Is that an indication that they may not, win anything? I mean, they may not win too many matches on Sunday. I mean, could that be the case? But we'll have to find out. But all in all, fun match. Fight of the night for me. That was a 3.5-star match, and I mean the new IC belt looks great, and I'm hopeful that thing gets elevated. So really nothing more to say here. So my apologies for that little technical difficulty. So nothing more to say. MF, let's continue on here.
And you want to know how crazy it is? As once this was announced, the belt was revealed, WWEshop.com has now announced that they are actually taking pre-orders right now of the new Intercontinental Championship. The belt is now available on WWEshop.com. I got it right here at $429.99, and the belt will be shipped and sent out on Thursday, December 12th. So you can actually pre-order it now, and the belt will be shipped to you by December 12th. And this is on WWEshop.com right now. So get your orders in, and you could be the first in the world to have your hands on the brand new Intercontinental Championship, which is exclusive to Smackdown Live. Got to throw that in there as well. All right, next up on this show tonight, on this crazy show tonight, Daniel Bryan comes out, was about to cut the promo, then was interrupted by The Miz, and it led to a match where it was The Miz versus Daniel Bryan, but the fight gets thrown out because The Fiend showed up and got a little bit of a piece of Daniel Bryan when it was all said and done. So, Dee Woodson, it's all yours. Interesting segment and a pretty decent fight before the fight got thrown out.
Yeah. Actually, I heard it was a DQ, but I would think the fight would have got thrown out. I mean, because you really didn't have a definitive winner. It's just a replacement. You kind of replaced Miz with the Fiend sitting in the corner. So for me, I would think it would be thrown out. But most of the dirt sheets are trying to say it's a DQ. So I have no idea exactly how to say the finish went on that one. But yeah, the segment itself started out really great, and and then you had Miz come out, and here we have another, Daniel Bryan Miz match. Like it's not the first one we've had, but yeah, we had another one of those, and it looked like Daniel was about to start the yes chants when the Fiend come out. If I was to rate this match, I'd probably give it 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. It was the match was really going very well until you get to the finish where they just kind of bring the Fiend in. And how many would you call this for a loss for Bryan? I mean, he's lost a lot of matches lately. So yeah, other than this really hyping the pay-per-view, the match itself, it was an okay match, but the finish, I think, just kind of ended up spoiling the match in the end. But that segment, that was definitely, loved how it played out. So not much more to say about it. I'll toss it to you.
Yeah, no, good match, solid fight. Unfortunately, it is an NA. I thought the segment was fine. I love because anytime the Miz and Daniel Bryan go at each other, it's always epic. There's really nothing bad, but the match itself was kind of there at the end. So there was really nothing more to say about that. So we're just gonna move on right along. Anthony, Anthony, you didn't even give us your thoughts about it. So
No.
go ahead, Floyo. Go give us your quick thought.
Couldn't wait to move on, could you? No, Anthony,
Yeah,
no.
Well, the thing is we got a lot to cover tonight, so Floyo, so I'm trying to keep it as quickly as we can.
And I applaud you for that. So, the one match on the show that ends without a finish is not one that involves brand warfare. And, it was nice to get a full segment, not focused on the silly brand stuff, and instead revolve around two SmackDown wrestlers who don't like each other. It was rather obvious from the get-go that The Fiend would wind up getting involved. I would have liked to have seen Bryan get a clean win here before The Fiend interrupted, if only to give him a little bit of momentum heading into Sunday. The transition from Miz in the corner to The Fiend, genius. That's all there is to say. And I also would have liked to have seen, how many of us would have liked to have seen Firefly Funhouse Wyatt in the ring with Bryan? That would have been awesome. I'm just saying. Move on.
All right. The next thing we had on the show, Shayna Baszler came out and basically was like, all right, Bayley, you made some comments earlier tonight about how I was basically attacking you from behind, back in the past. Well, here I am. I'm ready for a fight. Come and get me. Be careful what you wish for, Baszler, because you got it. Bayley comes out, does a sneak attack, and it looked like Shayna Baszler did get the upper hand on Bayley for a little bit until Bayley was able to, throw her into the barricade to break the hold, and then throw her right between the post and the LED, the ring steps and the LED post, and runs off. So it was a nice little fight, nice little thing. We don't have to really get into this, but we will get into the main event, which was a 6-man tag team fight. It was Roman Reigns, Mustafa Ali, and Chad Gable, almost called him Shorty G, but it is Chad Gable, versus King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. And the heel team wins the match in 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Corbin hitting 6 on Ali to get a clean win. 9, it was all good. Then all hell broke loose. Then basically Roman clears the ring. Raw comes out with Seth Rollins. Reigns and Roman go at it. Then the Raw crew comes out. Braun Strowman comes out, brings all of the SmackDown boys with them to the party. Then NXT showed up. And they started coming in. And they went into war. And when it was all said and done, it was a war, is what we call it. Chaotic scene to close out SmackDown Live. As far as the fight goes, I could give it about 2.5 stars. Maybe third best fight of the night. But my God, what a way to close the show. I mean, this was beautifully done. I mean, everybody shined on this one. You saw Rollins and Roman going at it. Raw had the upper hand at one point. Then when Strowman rolls out, that's why Strowman is an indestructible force. He was tossing Raw guys left and right. I've never seen Raw guys flying like he did. Strowman running around the ring like a maniac. Dude, he was picking guys off by the dozen. He probably leveled, 8 Raw guys before he hit the ring? Who's going to stop that guy? That's all I'm going to say. So, this was chaotic. Then we had the war at the end with NXT. And you saw Keith Lee and Strowman? Woo! You want to talk about 2 18-wheelers about to collide? Holy freaking crap! This was insane. This was awesome. Everybody looked good at the end of this. Raw looked great. SmackDown looked great. NXT looked good. There was no weak link on that in the exchange. Everybody had a little something to do with that final portion of the show. So, nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, Wow, 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 wow.
Wow, wow, wowie, wow, yowie, wowie. I mean, whoa. What about NXT's entrance a la the DX WCW invasion? Hello, come on.
That was epic. That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Consider me shocked that all 3 matches involving wrestlers participating in brand supremacy warfare matches on Sunday ended with clean finishes. It was not much to say about this six man though. It was a standard 6-man tag, 2.5 stars. King Corbin is quickly becoming the most overexposed wrestler in the company today. As far as what happened at the end, what can you say? They've ended nearly every show for the last 3 weeks with some sort of chaotic brawl. This had to be the biggest one yet, and man, it was just amazing, and it was insane, and Braun Strowman running over all the Raw guys. MF, I'm sure that made you happy. Our little routine. So I'm sure you probably were. You probably had that Cheshire Cat grin on your face, I'm sure, when you saw all that. And then, Strowman and Keith Lee. What a visual. I pray that Keith Lee is on the NXT men's team, and I think he will be. They haven't announced anything yet. They might have some big surprises in store. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. But man, what a way to close out what was, to me, the best SmackDown since the emergency NXT show from 3 weeks ago. So that was a go-home show. That's all I can say on that. So, Dee Woodson, what says you?
Yeah, this was definitely a hot way to end SmackDown. Even the segment with the ladies was fairly good. I mean, I think Shayna gave Bayley a little taste of exactly what a heel is supposed to look like. Then the match, I'm going to give it about 3 stars. It was a good main event overall, and even though Ali lost, he had a chance to shine in front of his hometown. It was still a really good match. And then post match, totally awesome. Love how the big men faced each other there at the end, and would love to see one of these days these two go actually one-on-one against each other. I mean, Keith Lee and Strowman are fairly close to the same size. I mean, yeah, that would be an awesome, big guy fight. I mean, that would be really, really great. But yeah, I love how this ended at the end. You had the old DX type entrance for the NXT troops to come into the building. I mean, it was great. It was just, I loved how it all ended. I think this really did show everybody just how much these 3 shows want to win over each other when it comes to Survivor Series. So this, SmackDown really, hit it out of the park when it came to bringing a go home show. So yeah, not much more I'm going to say about it. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, unbelievable way to close the night. It's time for the overall review. Anthony Florio, you lead off, and I already know, just based on what you're saying or what you said, saying that this was one of the better shows since the emergency night that they had to do for NXT when the NXT started the invasion for Survivor Series, that this is probably going to be a very high number.
Not as high as you think, but I'll say this though. I felt NXT had the best go-home show this week. That was a 9.5 easily. This show was nowhere near that, but I will give this about an 8. I think this was an 8 out of 10 for me. We had 3 solid matches, and then you had the great stuff with Bryan and Miz and Fiend. That could be leading to something down the road with those three. That was supposed to be Miz's spot, by the way. The original plan was for Miz to be the first challenger for the Fiend, but because of the Saudi issues, they had to re-scramble that. So that could lead to something next month. We'll see. But the 8-man was the fight of the night. The women's match, the second best fight of the night. The main event, so-so, but it was still the third best fight of the night. Bryan and Miz, solid match up until the finish. And everybody got a chance to shine tonight. Raw had some moments. SmackDown had some moments. NXT was the big winner, though, with Rhea Ripley going over, Undisputed Era going over, and then the mass brawl at the end. So some things could have been better, but other than that, I got to give this a solid 8. Very good show from SmackDown tonight. Great go-home show for Survivor Series. My excitement level is sky high. So let the games begin. So nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, I have it at an 8. Do you have it higher, lower, agree? What?
Yeah, I'll go about 8, maybe a tad bit higher, maybe about 8.5. It was a very good show. I've seen Raw and SmackDown, even though I didn't get to review those due to, family emergency. But definitely, this was definitely a very good show. But I would agree that NXT probably came home with the big win for the go home show department out of all three of them. But this definitely came in second over the 3 shows. Because this was still really a great way to just build the pay-per-view and just build the storylines around each one of the matches, and they did an awesome job doing it. And we had a lot of chaos in certain segments and in the matches, but in the end, you still have the feel where you're wanting to what you want this pay-per-view to come right now. You want to see what's going to happen. You want to know which team is going to come out on top. So they did their job, and that's about all I'm going to say about it. Great. It was a great show. I really enjoyed it. But I would say NXT still had the better of the go home shows. So Fletch, it's yours.
I'm going to say 8 out of 10. I totally agree with both of you guys. I think it was beautifully done. No doubt about it. I'm not going to get into too much more. Let's dive right in to NXT TakeOver Wargames. Of course, tomorrow night from Chicago at the Allstate Arena. And let's start it off with the first match of the evening. It, as of now, is a 4-fight card, but the first fight of the night is for the number 1 contendership for the NXT Championship that will happen at Survivor Series. Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, and Damian Priest. I'll lead off on this. I'm going to say it. I think it's going to be Pete Dunne. I want it to be Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne has earned the right to get the opportunity. Plus, it would be a better heel versus face dynamic if those two go at it. And imagine Adam Cole and Pete Dunne at Survivor Series. Oh my God, what a matchup that would be. So my predictions, Pete Dunne winning it. Anthony, go.
Yeah, it's Pete Dunne, MF. You're absolutely right. A triple threat between 3 guys who can't stand each other, and now the stakes have been raised. This feud began between Dunne and Priest in their first encounter on the NXT debut on USA. Dunne had a brief encounter with an exiting Killian Dane, which gave the Beast of Belfast a score to settle. Priest, not to be outdone, is looking to avenge his first career loss. Now the winner of this match will go on to face Adam Cole for the NXT Championship at Survivor Series. A case can be made for any of these 3 men, but the money should be on Dunne, like MF said, since losing the NXT UK title to Walter the WrestleMania weekend and ultimately moving over to NXT, he's needed to reestablish his previous dominance. A program against Cole will do just that. Plus, he has previous experience against the Undisputed Era from last year's Wargames. the bruiserweight will win. So Didi had to step away for a minute, so we're just gonna have to move on. So
All right.
Pete Dunne is my pick as well. MF, you're right.
Next matchup, Matt Riddle 1-on-1 with Finn Balor. Anthony, lead off.
Oh man. This matchup is a dark horse for the match of the night, despite there being 2 War Games matches. Balor's first time back in the ring since returning to NXT, now fully debuting his dark alter ego heel character. Simply put, Balor has been the most controversial part of the show since NXT moved to USA. With Johnny Gargano out with injury, if he wasn't hurt, this clearly would have been Gargano's spot. No doubt about it. Matt Riddle became a target. Matt Riddle made his debut at last year's War Games. He quickly became a top performer for the brand. This contest will leave everyone on the edge of their seats with close calls and amazing feats of athleticism. Picking a winner here is easy because the story of Balor being back is still being told. I don't think it would make any sense for Finn to lose his first takeover match since coming back. So Finn will claim his first victim at TakeOver. So for me, the winner of this match, it is Finn Balor. Didi Woodson's back in. MF, let's catch her up quickly.
All right, Didi, the triple threat match, Killian Dane, Damian Priest, and Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne.
All right, Finn Balor versus Matt Riddle.
Balor.
You're caught up. You're basically caught up. All right, next up, the first of the 2 War Games fights. We're going to do the women first. Team Ripley versus Team Shayna Baszler. Team Ripley, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim. Shayna Baszler is Baszler. Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kaylee Ray. As many of you guys know, Team Baszler has the 1-woman advantage. So once the intervals start, Baszler will have the extra woman going in every 2 minutes. So Didi Woodson, who do you have winning War Games?
I think it's going to be Team Ripley. To tell you the truth, I think they'll manage to, in the end, pull it off and win. So yeah, I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. So it's yours.
Normally, War Games, it can go either way, especially once we get into that match beyond aspect. Once the match really takes off at that point, it's going to be absolute insanity. But at the end of the day, I have to agree with Didi Woodson. I think it's going to be Team Ripley. I think they're going to win the War Games. I just think that, with them being in that situation, I could see them maybe going after Io Shirai or Bianca Belair, maybe as the weaker links of the team. And I think they're going to be the one that's going to eat the pin. I don't know who's going to get the winning pin, but one of those two, Io Shirai or Bianca Belair, is going to eat the pin and is going to lose the match for Team Shayna Baszler. So I got Rhea Ripley's team winning War Games. Florio, it's yours.
How many times, MF, in War Games history have we seen the heel team get the advantage, but yet the babyface team wins? How many times have we seen that?
Man, it's been a few times, especially recently, where the heels have lost has had the man advantage and then lost War Games. But there was a time back in the day where the heels actually were winning War Games, like. Even with the person advantage, they actually won a few of them.
Yeah, my point exactly. So it has to be Team Ripley. I mean, how can it not be? I mean, it's very clear. It's very clear that they want that Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship is the next big money match when it comes to the women's division. We just don't know when they're going to do it. That's just the only thing. But this is the setup for Ripley finally ending Shayna's reign, and Mia and Candice both owe Io Shirai one. I'm not entirely sure on this one. Part of me wants to pick the heels just because, because of Baszler's dominance. But there are two champions on that heel team. The Good Gals winning could set up multiple title matches. Some Ripley against Shayna and someone else against Kaylee Ray for the UK women's title. My gut is telling me Shayna, but we need a big babyface win here to set up whoever is going to dethrone her, which I still think is going to be Ripley. I mean, what about Dakota Kai? Can we think about that for 1 second? The only way Team Baszler wins this match is if Dakota Kai comes out and screws over Team Ripley. Dakota Kai's got a bone to pick. She got left out. And quite frankly, if it was me being left out, I would do the exact same thing in a heartbeat. I'd turn on you in a second. Go back to my old heel days. And you remember how damn good of a heel I was, MF. Come on now. So, but anyways, but that was back then. Of course, I'm no longer that way now. Never will be. But anyways, it's tough. It's really tough. Really, really, really tough. But I'm going with Rhea Ripley. I'm going with Team Ripley though. But if Dakota Kai gets involved, MF, then Team Baszler.
Yeah, that could instantly swing. All right. So, final fight of the NXT War Games is the men's War Games match, as it is Undisputed Era. All four members, you already know who they are: Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. And they go up against Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Donovan Dijakovic, and there's a fourth member, but we don't know who that is at this moment. We won't know until possibly the night of the fight. So it's right now 3-on-4. I'm going to openly say this. I think it's Undisputed Era. Don't get me wrong. I like Keith Lee. I like Donovan Dijakovic. I like Tommaso Ciampa. And whoever that fourth man is will be interesting to see. But when you got Undisputed Era and there's such a cohesive unit, they're meant for War Games. This is their baby now, especially in this NXT era. They've been in War Games more than any other team or individuals. They're the four horsemen of this new War Games era. Let's say it like that. Everybody knows the Horsemen was synonymous with War Games back in the NWA and WCW days. This era, it's Undisputed Era, and they've been basically taking rough shot to War Games. I think Undisputed Era wins. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. MF bringing up the history, obviously, I love that comparison, MF. I really do. The Undisputed Era is this generation's Four Horsemen. No doubt about that. MF bringing up the old days of the War Games when the Four Horsemen used to, be in all those matches against teams led by Dusty Rhodes and all those guys back in the day. Those great tours they used to go on, those great American Bash tours in the 80s, mainly in the Orange Bowl in Miami. So, yeah, you gotta go out of your way to see those friends because those were hella fun. But with the entirety of Undisputed Era set to compete at Survivor Series the following night, Adam Cole in a title match and the others in champion versus champion matches, it would not make much sense for the lone real faction in all of WWE to take a loss in this match. The only way it can happen, though, is if some disaster happens with Keith Lee and or Dominik Dijakovic with their size wiping out everyone in the match and Adam Cole maybe falling on top of someone for the 1-2-3, which is how he beat Johnny Gargano in their trilogy match a couple of months ago. So I'm going to go with MF on this one. I'm going with the Undisputed Era, but don't be surprised if they put Team Ciampa over here, because Adam Cole needs a future dance partner down the road. And Ciampa and Cole is the next big money NXT championship feud. And when those two get together eventually, look out. Enough said. Undisputed Era wins. Didi, what's in your thoughts?
I'm I'm going to take a wild guess at who this fourth member is because there's a lot of dirt sheets right now that I've been kind of stumbling across that says it
Yeah,
could
I heard about it too.
possibly be John Morrison.
Yes.
So if that's the case, there could be a really good chance that Team Ciampa could come out on top. Um, I'm kind of with you guys. I think Undisputed Era has a greater advantage because they are a unit. They are you know they're all on the same page. Where Team Ciampa is not a unit. They're not all on the same page. But I would not be surprised if Ciampa wins. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Undisputed Era. But if we're right that Morrison is the fourth man, then look out! It could be Ciampa coming out on top. So, pledge is yours.
All right, and with that said, we're going to move right into the Survivor Series. So, all right, I'm going to go by the order that I think the fights are going to go. So, this is going to be all over the place. I'm going to be real honest with you. So, let's start off with the tag team, the battle of the tag team champions. Representing Monday Night Raw is the Viking Raiders, Ivar and Eric. Representing SmackDown is the New Day, Biggie and Kofi Kingston. And representing Undisputed Era and NXT, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. All right. This can go a number of ways. This could definitely go. It can go a number of ways. There's no doubt about it. Raw could win this. SmackDown could win this. NXT could win this. I think at the end of the day, they're probably going to want to give it to the most experienced. And if that's the case, I think this is the one where SmackDown gets the victory. Now, the reason why I'm going to say that I think SmackDown wins is because I think they're going to want to give it to the most established. And don't get me wrong, Viking Raiders has done really well on Raw and everything else. But if you're talking about tag team in WWE, the New Day is been superior than everybody when it comes to the tag team division. They're practically the best of all in WWE. Now, I know this will probably be a disagreement with Florio. He's going to obviously say Viking Raiders. And I know if Michael Bullock was here, he'll probably say Undisputed Era. But I kind of feel like this is one of those times where I don't think we're going to get a shutout. I think there's going to be a victory somewhere along the way for everybody. Somebody's going to get a victory along the way. So for me, I think it's going to go by the way of New Day. I think SmackDown wins this battle. And Anthony, I give it to you.
I'm about to surprise you here, MF. No, I'm not agreeing with you. No. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people are I know all of you out there are expecting for all these brand supremacy matches for MF to go with all his SmackDown crew, me to go with all my Raw crew, and Bullock to go with all his NXT crew. Not the case with me. Even though I'm a Raw guy and I bleed the red until I die, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna be the man who tells it like it is. I'm bringing that Anthony to this preview right here and now. So, there's certainly plenty of people out there that think the Revival should be in this spot representing SmackDown. But,
I agree.
But my guess is that the New Day winning those tag titles recently was Vince trying to make something up to Kofi Kingston. I think it was Vince's way of making it up to Kofi after, feeding him to Brock Lesnar on the premiere of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. But I could be wrong on that. But either way, this should be a fun match if they're given the time. There's so much power with the Viking Raiders and Big E and Kofi and Fish and O'Reilly, a.k.a. Team Red Dragon. Bring some of the aerial maneuvers, as it is with the rest of these champion matches, there's nothing on the line except bragging rights, and that should make for some fun matchups. There's nothing on the line here, and a loss doesn't hurt anybody, so this could go in any direction. Even after having to participate in Wargames the night before, I'm going to surprise you folks. I'm actually going with the Undisputed Era to win this match. Remember, I'm being the man who tells it like it is. I'm not doing the rah-rah stuff. So, none of us are doing the rah-rah stuff. MF's not doing the rah-rah stuff. I'm not doing the rah-rah stuff. Bullet probably will. You know how he is. But MF and I, we're going to be the men who tell it like it is. So, Undisputed Era is my pick to win this match.
All right.
So nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, if you're back in, let's get your thoughts on this tag team, the battle of the tag team champions.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good match. This could go anywhere. I mean, it could be any one of the three that would come out on top. But the one I think possibly has the greater advantage in the whole thing, though, could be the Viking Raiders. So I'm actually going to go Team Raw on this one. So, sorry, guys.
No, fair enough. So that's interesting. I didn't know who you were gonna go with, Didi. So I was a little surprised to hear Viking Raiders. That actually took me by surprise. All right, so next up will be the battle for the secondary champions. AJ Styles for Monday Night Raw, Shinsuke Nakamura SmackDown Live, and NXT North American champion Roderick Strong representing Undisputed Era and NXT. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Get ready for the show stealer here, folks. Perhaps more than any other match on the Survivor Series card, this mid-card secondary champion matchup is one I'm really looking forward to watching. Just look at the participants here. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Roderick Strong. What a time to be a wrestling fan, am I right? These are three of the most talented in-ring performers of the last 20 years, and watching the three of them square off should be a treat for everyone. Expect the IWC Chicago crowd to be especially hot for this one. This is a very tough call, but my gut is telling me that Raw and AJ Styles is going to come out on top here. He's gotten the better of Shinsuke so many times in the past. But if I don't see at least one low blow attempt from Nakamura to Styles, I'm going to be upset. And Roderick Strong just doesn't quite have the credentials of those two just yet. Remember, AJ has backup. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Yes, Shinsuke's got lame duck man, Sami Zayn, but he just has Sami Zayn. AJ Styles has the Good Brothers, the best tag team in the world, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And I think they might be the difference makers in this one. So for me, the winner of this match, the United States Heavyweight Champion representing the A Show Monday Night Raw, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Didi Woodson, what says you?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think AJ's going to walk out on top with this one. Not so much because he's got, Anderson and my mind's going blank.
Gallows?
Gallows and Anderson, the rest of the OC behind him. But just, the fact that out of the three, I think he's got, a little bit greater experience, although Shinsuke in his own right also does. But, I have a feeling if, Zayn is going to be out there, he could be a factor that could possibly cost Shinsuke in the end. And like you said, Roderick, he's just not the same caliber as these two. He's just not quite there yet. Although he is, a very good champion in his own right. I'm going to agree with Florio. I'm going to go AJ Styles. So it's yours, Fletch.
I actually disagree. And I'm not actually going with Shinsuke Nakamura either. I'm actually going to go with Roderick Strong. I think Roderick Strong is going to slip through the back door and steal the fight. It's not going to be a pretty victory, but I could see him doing something cunning enough where AJ might do the phenomenal forearm on Nakamura. Then you'll see Roderick slip through the back door, throw AJ out, and then steal the victory and win the match for NXT. So my winner is the North American champion, Roderick Strong. So I got Roddy stealing the fight and winning the match over AJ and Nakamura. So with that said, we're going to go up to the next fight, the Battle of the Women's Champions. Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Shayna Baszler. Dee Dee Woodson, you lead off.
Here in a minute.
This one's also another one that's really hard to pick a winner, because I mean all three of them, are very good in their own rights. Part of me wants to see Shayna come out with it on top, but part of me thinks Bayley may actually come out with it also. So I think I'm going to go ahead and swing the punch towards Shayna and say Shayna's going to walk away with it. But I wouldn't be surprised, if Bayley comes out on top. And as much as I like Becky Lynch, I don't see her actually winning this one this time. So not much more I'm going to say about it. It's yours, Fletch.
This has a feel of WrestleMania 24. It does. Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler are the most established and most powerful women on both their brands. Bayley, not so much. She is definitely the underdog in this fight. But I think that is going to be the moment where if Bayley wins, she's going to have that breakout moment. And I think this is going to be the night where she has a breakout moment for herself and establish herself as one of the top champions, at least win the women's division. I think what's going to happen is Shayna and Becky are going to destroy each other, and that's where Bayley will slip through the back door and win the match. So I think this is going to be a la WrestleMania 24, how when Triple H almost ended John Cena's night, and we all thought that was it. Triple H was going to win the title, and then remember, there was that infamous Orton punt kick. Orton got the pin. Orton got the win. So at the end of the night, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Bayley is going to steal this fight. Bayley will steal the victory, and Bayley will win this match. Because we're completely underestimating Bayley, and this is that moment that WWE loves to push the ultimate underdog when you got two big favorites, and I could see them sneaking this backdoor victory. So I got Bayley winning the match. Anthony, go.
Oh, who do I agree with? Do I agree with MF and Bayley, or do I agree with Dee Dee and Shayna, or do I just go out on my own and go with the man representing Raw? Well, let me get into this. Now, I hate to say this because I'm really enjoying the new heel Bayley, but she kind of seems like the third wheel here. But then again, how many times have we said that throughout this whole thing? Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler have simply been fantastic with their back and forth thus far. There's a sense of reality to it with Baszler wanting to prove herself, and Becky has been the hottest thing in wrestling for more than a year, and there's just a lot of intensity here. But I don't want to count Bayley completely out of it. She's proved that she can run with this new heel character, and while it hasn't been as much as the other two, at least in my opinion, she can run with these two and should add an exciting element to this matchup. Except for maybe the secondary matchup, this is the match I'm most excited about. This could go many different ways. Becky Lynch absolutely does not need to win this match. She's done so much in this past year that a win here actually might not make sense, as much as I would love to see it. She doesn't really need this rub right now. Bayley probably needs this win more than anyone. And I was going to have a scenario. I was going to share a scenario where that actually happens, but MF pretty much made my point for me. With the animosity, with all the animosity between Lynch and Baszler, they could just beat the holy hell out of each other for the majority of the fight, and then Bayley could just slide in and pick up a cheap win, which would fit her character well. However, I am actually going to agree with Didi Woodson, and I am going to pick the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler here. As I just said, Becky doesn't need to win this match, but there's obviously a good chance that she could. So I like Baszler picking up the win on Bayley. Sure, it knocks Bayley down a peg, but she'd still be SmackDown Women's Champion. But this would be a life-changing win for Baszler, and it sets up a one-on-one with Becky down the line. Becky can claim that she wasn't the one to get beaten, and that's how you get there. Look for a fantastic battle from these three. So my winner, NXT Women's Champion, the Submission Magician, Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. How do you follow that, MF?
All right. So now we're going to get into the individual title matches. First off, we're going to lead off with the NXT title. Adam Cole, he faces, we are predicting it's going to be Pete Dunne. So let's predict right then and there. Who do you, actually, do I lead off? Yeah, I lead off. I'm going to go with Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole is going to successfully defend the title. I don't think there's really much more to say on that. Anthony, it's all yours.
Yeah, it's Adam Cole. Adam Cole, baby. It is going to be Pete Dunne. We all know that. A Cole versus Dunne matchup at Survivor Series is going to be incredible. There'll be some great near falls in this match, but I just don't see Cole dropping the NXT Championship at this time. There could be some interference by the other members of Undisputed Era to set up a screwy finish, which would be unfortunate. Whether it's by a DQ loss or a clean win, Adam Cole walks out of Chicago still the NXT champion. Didi Woodson, are we going to make this unanimous?
Yep, it's unanimous.
All right. Very quickly, next fight, Brock Lesnar putting the WWE title on the line against Rey Mysterio. No DQs, no holes barred. Florio, go.
Man. And then there's this one. I don't like the fact that this very likely will close out the show, but I would think that's what we'll see. I like the story here. Brock attacks Rey and Dominic. Rey brings in Lesnar's old nemesis, Cain Velasquez, but Velasquez can't get the job done, so Rey is going to take on Brock himself. It's fun. It's nostalgic watching Rey battle for the WWE Championship. But this is a matchup But is this a matchup anyone really wants to see anymore? Actually, yes. I am intrigued with the fact that Brock could set distance records with his German suplexes. Let's pretend we live in a world where Lesnar actually throws Rey from inside the ring all the way to the second row. All right, maybe that's too much, but the no holds barred, no DQ stipulation was thrown in for a reason. And that's the only logical way Rey Mysterio can do the unthinkable and become WWE champion. Mysterio is not going to beat Lesnar cleanly. There's just no way that happens. For Rey to win the title, we could see Cain Velasquez interfere to cost Brock the championship, but we could also see Dominic maybe get involved to help his dad. However, if Dominic is getting involved, it could go the other way as well. Perhaps they run the Rocky Balboa storyline where the son doesn't want to be overshadowed by his father, and Dominic turns on Rey, which would be glorious. But no matter how you slice it, though, there's only one logical outcome for this match. Brock Lesnar wins and goes away until the Royal Rumble, while Rey will have to turn his attention to Dominic. And that's a clean exit to the program, and we'll wait and see. But for me, winner and still the WWE champion, as much as I don't want to see it, it's going to have to be Brock Lesnar for now. So nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, agree?
I agree. Unfortunately.
And I'm unanimous on that. Brock Lesnar wins as well. All right. Final of the single title matches. Didi, you get to lead off on this one. Universal title on the line. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan.
The Fiend.
I agree. Fiend successfully defends. Anthony?
Yeah. We've seen these two battle in the past. The Royal Rumble 2014, near 5-star classic. Certainly plenty of history between these two. Of course, right here in Providence, we all know that story. But these are completely different characters from 5 years ago. I like the idea of The Fiend targeting Bryan as his first opponent on Friday Night Smackdown after winning the Universal Championship from Seth Rollins at the Crown Jewel, as it shows he's willing to go after the best in the business. And it has the potential to be one of the best matches of the night if it's pulled off correctly. What I would love to predict and actually come true is this match not taking place under those ridiculous red lights, but with our luck, it's probably going to. It's not pleasant at all. No one likes it. It can't make actually wrestling under them that much fun either. The Universal belt is not red anymore, and Wyatt's matches shouldn't be either. Well, I think Bryan will come a little closer to beating Bray than Rollins did. It wouldn't make much sense to take the title off of Wyatt this quickly. He's been built as this unbeatable monster, and this match should reflect that. Bryan comes close, but the winner and still Universal Champion, The Fiend Bray Wyatt. And now, MF, the one thing that has made this event the staple that it has been for 33 years, and the reason why I love this event so damn much.
We're going to start it with the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series match. Team Raw, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, the Kabuki Warriors, and Sarah Logan. Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross. And Team NXT, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, Mia Yim, and Toni Storm. Oh my God. All right. Going, like I said, on paper, this is NXT. They should win the match. But I kind of feel like this is probably going to go to Monday Night Raw. And why? One person and one person only. Charlotte Flair. They're going to want to make her look strong. They're going to want to make her look invincible. She's already one of the greatest women's wrestlers of our time. And I think they're going to want to propel her even to greater heights. She was the survivor in the last Women's Survivor Series matchup that they did a few years ago. And I think she's going to do it again. I think Charlotte wins at Survivor Series. I think she's going to be the lone survivor. Not at when it's all said and done. Anthony Florio, I got Raw winning this match.
And as the Raw guy here, MF, I'm very encouraged to hear that. I really am. I do have to correct you a little bit. 2016, Charlotte Flair and Bayley were the sole survivors for Team Raw. 2017, that was Asuka. And then last year it was Nia Jax. Remember, Charlotte Flair went up against Ronda Rousey last year.
That's true. That's true.
In that insane classic match. But as it is on the men's side, well, actually, no, because the NXT women's team was finally revealed here tonight. So, and I'm very surprised. I mean, we got Rhea Ripley, and we got Candice LeRae, but I would have thought maybe Bianca Belair could have been in there. I thought maybe Io Shirai could have been in there, but that team is stacked. They stacked the team with Ripley and Nox and Yim and LeRae, but Toni Storm puts them over the top. It really does. Charlotte Flair is obviously the big draw for Monday Night Raw, but the Kabuki Warriors have been awfully fun to watch the last couple of months, especially with the heel turn. Sasha Banks leads the blue team, and Nikki Cross would likely be the only other person on that team with any real shot to be a survivor. I think that Charlotte and Sasha will renew their rivalry a little bit here, and I think that costs both of them in the end. And I'm going to be honest with you. I see the women of NXT pulling this one out. They're already making history with the first ever women's Wargames match tomorrow night, and I think they make more history on Sunday. Who are the survivors? I don't know. I could see Rhea Ripley maybe being a sole survivor, but then again, I could see Toni Storm coming out of this. So, but regardless of it, I'm being the man who tells it like it is. I got Team NXT winning this Women's Survivor Series matchup. So, Didi Woodson, our resident women's wrestling expert, what says you?
I've been actually going back and forth between Team SmackDown and Team NXT. Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that, Raw could get it because of Charlotte, but at the same time, she's already elevated all the way to the top. She doesn't really need another big win in her department. NXT is the one who actually does need the win. And, SmackDown seems like every time we come to Raw versus SmackDown, they always fall to the bottom. I mean, they're always losing to Raw. So I would like to see SmackDown come out on top, at least in one or two matches for the night. But I guess I'm going to have to go with the NXT because they do have a very strong team. Because I think for SmackDown, Dana Brooke may be one of the weak links in that group. Although Raw does have a very, very strong team, I think all five of them are very strong. And NXT, if what we saw tonight is actually what we're going to get, then they have a very, very strong team as well. So I'll go ahead and give it to NXT because they need the push, they need the win, and I just don't see Raw coming out on top on this one. And I would not be surprised if they do end up handing it to SmackDown either. But I'm going to go ahead with NXT. So, Fletch, it's yours.
All right, and the final match is the men's Survivor Series match. We do not know any of the members of NXT as of right now, so we cannot assume who they are. But for Raw, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. For SmackDown, it is Roman Reigns, Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Chad Gable. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
Only fitting that I get to lead off on the traditional Survivor Series matchup here, considering this is the match that I always enjoy and why I love this event so damn much. And yes, as of right now, unlike the women, the men's NXT team has still not been announced. But I'm going to be honest here. It seems to make sense that Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle would almost be locks. And we certainly can't forget about Finn Balor either. And it's very unfortunate that Johnny Gargano has been yanked from TakeOver and this event due to injury, as there is nobody that embodies NXT more than him. In any event, there's going to be 15 huge names in this match. And seeing some of these new matchups should be fascinating. There's so many different stories that could play out, obviously including Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns on opposite teams, and the fun mix of baby faces and heels partnering up, a la where this all started, the infamous wildcard match in 1995. On paper, I like Team Raw here with all of the experience. Randy Orton, hello, essentially Mr. Survivor Series, 5 such wins, 15 total eliminations. He should be there at the end, as should Seth Rollins, given his place in WWE at the moment. Strowman is always a tough elimination, and he and Reigns would likely be the last two for the blue brand. Riddle is a wild card for NXT and could make a huge name for himself in this match. However, I just don't see NXT coming out on top here, but I do see them putting up a great showing. Me personally, I'd like to see Drew McIntyre as the sole survivor to start a monster push. But given how they booked him recently, that's very doubtful. But nonetheless, I'm going with Team Raw to win this match. And I say Randy Orton will pick up his 6th traditional Survivor Series elimination match win. And I think Seth Rollins will survive with him. So I'm going with Seth Rollins and Randy Orton representing Team Raw winning this one. So nothing more to say. Dee Whitson, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is another really tough one to pick, especially since we don't know anything about what NXT is going to put up for us. I mean, there's so many great guys on that roster. But, with the teams you got from Raw and SmackDown, you have a lot of combustible units here. I mean, on Raw, you have, Drew, who doesn't like anybody. You have Orton, who's been fighting against Ricochet. Kevin Owens has always been a wild card. And then on SmackDown, you get the same thing. I mean, nobody likes Corbin. And so he's probably one of the oddballs on that one to start a fight. And, Strowman hates everybody too. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and to see if whether or not they have a lot of backlash in the teams, kind of like we saw it tonight with the tag team match on SmackDown. But for me, I'm actually going to disagree with Florio, and I'm going to actually give this one to SmackDown because you've got three really major powerhouses on SmackDown. Although I don't like to say that about Corbin, but you have to admit he has a really good wrestling style. He has won several matches. And then you have the really high flying and speed of the two smaller guys, Ollie and Gable. So yeah, unfortunately, I've got to give this one to SmackDown over Raw. So Fletch, it's yours.
This is going to be one of the toughest matches for me because there's so many guys that are so good on both ends. Obviously, NXT, I just don't think it's going to win this match. I think they're going to have plenty of other victories for this night. I think SmackDown's going to win this fight. And the thing is, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I think it's going to be Roman and Strowman at the end being the survivors. I could even see Corbin weaseling his way to being a survivor a la 95. If you remember, in the 95 Survivor Series, which was the wild card, you had Shawn Michaels and Ahmed Johnson, and you had the British Bulldog, who was a heel, as the survivor. So I could see that happening again. So my survivors are Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and yes, King Corbin, King Bleepface, as we like to call him. And SmackDown wins this battle. That actually will give me at least a moment of celebration for me. I don't think we're gonna get that many on this night, but I think we could get at least 2 wins. I think it's going to go 2 wins for Raw, 2 wins for SmackDown. I think NXT is going to get 1. I think Roderick Strong's going to be the lone victory out of the 5-on-5. Like I said, I think everybody's going to get a victory in this Survivor Series. That's my thoughts. There's not going to be one team that's going to be more dominant than the other. Openly, to say the very least. All right, guys, so we're done for tonight. Next time is Sunday night, when we do the recap of Survivor Series. Thank you, Anthony Floyo. Thank you, Dee Dee Woodson. And thank you guys for watching. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now. We'll see you on Sunday. And until then, for Cerebral Smack Talk, we are out.